Hey guys, today I wanted to make a video guiding you essentially through how to install mods on Balatro. I want to start off the video by saying a big shout out to this guy, Paul Jobson. He made this GitHub gist and he covers it pretty well. There's one thing about this that I'm not a big fan of, and I'll comment it when we get to that part of the video. But for now, I'll just say huge shout out to this guy. He's great. He seems to be doing a lot of stuff on GitHub. So props to you and thank you for making this. I will have one addition, as I said, but I'm going to be going off of this, essentially this GitHub tutorial. So if you don't want to listen to a guy yap for like 10 minutes on YouTube, you can go here. If I am allowed to do it, YouTube doesn't allow small channels to put links in your comments, but if I am able to, I will link this GitHub repo. In case I don't, you can always look up install Balatro mods on Linux on Google, and this shows up almost immediately. So to begin this, I'm going to move this and open my terminal so you guys can see what we are doing. The first step of the tutorial is downloading, with your own package manager, downloading the necessary requirements, so the necessary packages. In this case, we would download git, unzip, wget, and curl. Now most systems should have these. If yours doesn't, maybe you're on something like Ubuntu, which comes like really weird outside of the box. That's what I know about Ubuntu or Ubuntu. My system has all of these, so we can move forward onto the next step, but you make sure you have these or make sure that they are updated. The next step is actually going over to Steam, going over to your Balatro game, clicking properties, and here in launch options, you should add this. I will add this in the description. And you should go to compatibility and click force the use of a specific Steam Play compatibility tool. And that's basically all you have to do. Also, additionally, make sure you have the game downloaded and that you've opened it at least once. Because this is actually necessary in order to set up mods. You need to at least open it once. Now we're going to go back to our terminal and we are going to run the following command. You're going to run roaming path. You can see I have it already, but I'll go through it with you. Roaming path equals $, brackets, and then we'll do find tilde / minus name, and then quotation marks Balatro. Then we'll do a pipe. If you don't know the straight symbol, it's called a pipe. It should be under backspace or to the left of your enter key, depending on whether your enter key is long or the other weird shape enter keys are. But this is called a pipe, so we're going to pipe that, and then we're going to use grep app data / roaming. We're going to close this, and we are just going to run this command. Now, for you, what this is going to do, it is going to add a environment variable. If you don't know what that is, you can look up on the internet what's an environment variable. You can look that up and you will learn what that is. I will just show you the output of the command since that's the actually important part. So we'll do /name Balatro. I'll just copy it over basically. And you'll see that once the command evaluates, we get the following output. I'll make my terminal slightly larger. We get a following output. So we get home, Alex, local, share, Steam, Steam apps, comp data, the ID of the game, PFX, drive C users, Steam users, app data, roaming, Balatro. Now, what this gives you is the path to the Balatro folder. On some systems, this may be in a completely different place. For some people, it can be in different folders because they have Steam installed from different providers. And this is generally different for not basically everyone, but might be different for a lot of people. Now, the next step is where actually I will show you the GitHub once again, because this is the thing I wanted to mention. In the original GitHub, you will see this command. This command is fine. It says add it to your bash RC. Basically, what adding it to your bash RC does is if we open this magical file, zshrc, this file loads and does everything you list here every time you open your terminal. So if we look at the original command, we can see it's echo export roaming path. It's basically the command you just ran. And if we run that command again, you can see it takes quite a bit of time for the command to resolve. Now what adding it to your bash RC will do is this will run every single time. So you'll have this much of a delay, that's like about a second, before you can actually interact with your terminal. And I can show you this because I have the command here. If I go to the end of this file, whoops, I'm not sure what I did, and I uncomment this line and I exit out of my terminal and I go back again, so it's Alacrity, you can see my terminal refreshed. And what I'll show you again is if I type hi, you can see that when my terminal is active, it's showing the color of the text is red because it's not a valid Linux command. And if I do hi, it's going to show me command not found. Now if we exit and open it and I type hi, it's going to hang for a minute and then show me that it's not a valid command. Which, if you don't care, honestly, this is perfectly fine. If you really don't care, you can keep that in. What I will show you is a better alternative, and you can see that this will not make your terminal hang. If I open Alacrity and type hi, it is almost immediately interactable. So what you do is you, instead of running that command, I made a change to the file myself, is you use this command. Now if we look at this command, it looks very similar. I know. So the command is this one. Just give me a second. Yep, it is this. So what this command does is I will run it without the arrows. So you'll see this command once again evaluates and it gives me this entire string, export roaming path and the entire path. But what it does when you add it to your zshrc, when you run it the way I showed with these angled brackets at the end .zshrc, what this does is it actually adds a line to your zshrc, and it's just the folder path. So this can be immediately set instead of having to wait for the find command to evaluate where your Balatro folder is and then grabbing for the app data and setting it to roaming path. So that's just slightly faster. Anyways, that was my little rant. That's everything I wanted to mention as far as criticism I have. Again, that's not really criticism, you know. People make small mistakes, you know. That's just life. It doesn't really matter that much. But I did want to mention it because, you know, just in case somebody encountered issues with their terminal slowing down, they're like, am I just crazy? You know, you're not crazy. You're actually fairly smart for noticing. Good job. And if you fixed it yourself, even better. You're great. So now that we said this, you can also make a link. Ignore the weird ANSI escape code that was shown. So this is the command you use. Granted that you have created a 0 mods folder or something with that name. The name doesn't matter. you can call it my mods for GTA 5. It doesn't really matter. It's just going to link it to this path. So when you open the downloads, whoops, sorry. When you open downloads this folder, it will just head you over there. I believe, did I miss something? Oh yeah, you should make a mod. You should make a mods folder under your roaming path. So if I head over, actually because I've done this already, if I head over to downloads and mods, you will see that I am in my Balatro folder. If I go pwd, it's going to show me that I'm inside the link, while I am actually somewhere here. I'm probably here. And we can cd in our mods folder, and here we can see all of our mods. So the first thing you're going to do in order to set up your mods is download Lovely. So what you're going to do is you're going to go cd ~downloads. Then you're going to run this command. So it's latest equals $ curl -s this the Lovely folder. You're going to go grep Lovely x8664 head 1 sed e, and this is just changing some RH. I'm not sure what this is doing. I believe this is adding, so it's looking for a plus href equals and replaces it with an empty string, but I might be wrong. So I'm not that familiar with sed, but I think that's what it's doing. But basically, this will download something. It will set you a URL. Actually, I can run it. I'll just copy it again. And yes, I'm copying this from GitHub. Everyone copies commands. We can set it, and then we can do echo $latest. So we will see this is just a command. This is just a link. So then you're going to do wget $latest, and this is just going to install it. You're going to run unzip lovely star, and then you're going to do rm lovely star. Then you're going to have a file called version.dll, and you should move this to your common path. So what I did was I did mv version.dll, and I went to local share steam maps common Balatro. In the example that Paul has given, I will briefly show that as well. The example that he's given actually moves it to an app, I believe, installed from Discover or whatever, the Ubuntu. It might be Flatpak or Ubuntu store, but you will see that it is a different path for him. You can, I believe, you should be able to call maybe which Balatro. I'm not sure. Yeah, okay. So no, you can't do that. You should be able to go to properties and go to installed files and browse. So this should head you over to the common folder. I'm glad that I was able to help with that. So that's how you do it. You see, I fail, and then I learn a little bit. So once we create our mods folder and we have Lovely and we have moved the version DLL, we can move on to the next step. So I can see that the first step is installing smods is once again creating the mods folder. That's not necessary. You can do cd roaming path mods, which we already created. You will see we are in the big long directory name. And once we are in the mods folder, we'll do git clone https. So I'll just run this with you. https://github.com/steam audit, so steam audit, basically steam modded /smods.git. Once you run this, you will have a zip file, I believe. you will just have the Git repository. My bad. I apologize. You will have the smods folder. This is basically just a dependency. And once you have this, you can install other mods. So I'll just show you an example of another mods repository. I will just Google, let's say for example, Saturn Balatro mod GitHub page. So we looked for Saturn Balatro mod GitHub page. We're gonna go here, and you're going to see, again, incredibly basic. They usually have releases on the left hand side, and you can just click here, and it will start downloading the source code. You will see I have a little zip file here. Basically, I will actually show this again. So we want to move the Saturn. You see I have a Saturn alpha zip to /downloads /omods/mods, and you will see I have the Saturn alpha zip here. Then from here you just run unzip on it, and then you can remove the .zip with the rm command. Now I already have it, so we're all good there. And basically this is it. There's one more thing you may have to do. Now you may not have to do this, but it is a good idea to do this. So head over to your downloads, and what you're going to do here is you're going to run the find command, and once you're inside downloads, you're going to run find omods as your directory, and you're going to do type d exec chmod -v 755 curly braces / and then a semicolon. What this is going to do is it's going to go to every single one of these folders. It's going to look at it. It's going to say, hey, this directory has these permissions. And you're also going to do this for every file. You're going to run find, once again, omods. So omods, type F this time because we're looking for files, and we're going to run exec chmod -v 644 curly braces / semicolon. Now, if you're not very familiar with Linux, if you're more new to Linux, usually these are just default permissions, by the way. These are absolutely default permissions. This is just making sure that they are set. Files in Linux usually have 644 permissions, and directories have 755 permissions. If you want to look into that, go ahead and look into that. I learned that from working at a hosting company for about a year and a half, but this is very, very basic stuff. And once you have done this, also, I want to mention here, if you're not in your downloads folder, you can also do find downloads omods. This is a universal path. This will always work given that you have a downloads folder and that you have created the omods folder, and it will work. And you run the same command as shown above, type f exec yada yada yada. And this is it. You can boot up Balatro. I'll show it in a video of me opening the game, and I'll show you that I have mods installed. So you can see it's loading my mods. I also have a suspicious window here, lovely 0.9, and you can read here, it says inject shader, inject screen shader, keybind achievements, score pairing, score parameters, scoring calc, and other stuff. And whoops, I'm sorry, I did not mean to do that. So if you open Balatro first, you're going to see this loading screen. Then you also might see this little console. This is the lovely console. You can see API loaded no, and other stuff, inject internal, inject run select, pages and stuff like that. So don't close this. I closed it and it crashed my game because of course it did. And if you should see this mods, and when you click on it, you should see a list of mods, credits, config, list of activated mods. This even shows you your mods. That's really nice. And you can disable mods from here. And this is everything. So I hope this video is helpful to at least one person. And if it wasn't useful to at least one person, that's also fine. That is part of why the internet exists. There's stuff that's there for people when they need it. And if this helped you out, I am super happy. If you have any comments, please leave them in the description. If you believe I didn't do justice to a point or I missed something, of course, correct me. That is what we're here for. And that is everything. Happy modded Balatro runs. Bye-bye.